Alright guys, welcome. This is going to be my beginner's guide video for Genshin Impact new players, especially you free-to-play people. I am streaming right now live, twitch.tv/Jabberwocky. So, first things first, let's go over what this game is what you're going to be getting into when it comes to this game. It's going to be kind of grindy. It's going to be a very enjoyable solo player experience, probably one of the best you've had, probably, I would say, in the last 10 years. It's how I feel. And what you're going to get is a good storyline. You're going to get really good, nice, easy progression. You're going to get really good combat. You're going to get really beautiful um, background music, voice acting, characters, and you're going to get a lot of perks even for being a free-to-play player.
It's time to
So,
move on. We
first and
shouldn't stay
foremost,
here.
you have. Let's go to the escape menu. So let's go over each and every one of these a little bit at a time. Okay, so you have your adventure rank. That is not tied to your character level. When you go into battles and when you go into areas, it's going to tell you you should be preferred. Your party should be an average player level of. And it'll say, 20, 30, 15, whatever. That is taking the average level of all of your all the characters on your team, which is why it's important to not only develop a singular character for your main DPS, but to develop an entire four-man team that has enough resources invested in them to be at the right level. So you have your adventure rank. You get this adventure XP. This is from doing a lot of different things every single day, every single week. This is the most important thing. This is the thing that you're going to see a lot of those pay to win. They've spent $1,000 YouTubers and Twitch streamers that they've spent a lot of money and they're like, oh, I'm AR 40 plus whatever right now. Well, guess what? They're that level because they've been spending thousands of dollars on character roles to get maxed out characters of 5 stars so that they can roll through the content. And guess what? Now they've hit a brick wall and they can't go anywhere really. So for the free to play players, you're gonna have a really good progression. Your world level, basically, it starts at 1. When you get to a certain level, it's going to tell you, your world level is ready to increase. When your world level increases, as it says here, you're going to get better treasures, but the mobs are going to be harder. But it's also going to increase the max adventure rank that you can have. And you're going to get an ascension quest. So sometimes you're going to have to complete a specific quest line because you've hit a brick wall in a sense. It's going to tell you to complete this quest. You'll increase your world level. You'll then get harder mobs, but you'll get more rewards. You'll start to get better drops on gear, and you'll be able to continue to increase your AR level. Now with your character, I put in, like you can put in your birthday, so that way, hopefully on which is going to be your birthday, they might give you a nice prize, nice little reward. You do have a photo mode. This is where you're going to get your patch notes, your notices. You have your mail, for like if sometimes they have issues, and when they fix those issues as like a thank you or a sorry to the players, they'll actually give you rewards in the mail. Time is with certain quests you're going to actually need to do it during a certain time of the day. So this is kind of like a Skyrim thing where you can change your time of day in order to do certain quests. The shop menu. Now the only time as a free to play player you should be going into this shop menu is to go to Paimon's Bargains. You have these things called Intertwined Fate and Acquainted Fate. Your Acquainted Fate is going to be for the special event banners. And we'll get into that. Your Acquainted Fate is going to be for the regular banners that do not have a rate up, which means they do not have an increased chances of giving you the better stuff. Star Glitter Exchange, you're going to get this when you get high tier weapons and when you get characters. It's going to give you, as in the background, it's going to give you Star Glitter. You can save this up like I am. I'm at 24. I'm saving up for Razor at 34. You can get weapons. You can get a lot of different things, and it's going to be good stuff, right? But I would recommend saving them for a character that's here if you want it. If not, then use it for your Intertwined Fates. And then your Stardust you're going to get from when you roll anything else. When you roll 3 stars, 3-star weapons, whatever, you're going to get a bunch of Stardust. And with that, you'll want to first focus on maxing out the amount of fates you can get per month with them. And then I did my Mora, and then you can get these are all pieces you can put towards characters and weapons to level them up. But adventure experience and more money. These three here. These are all going to be key. This is leveling up your character. This is leveling up your weapon, and this is the money that you're going to need to be able to do all of that. So when you get your fates, you're going to get star glitter and stardust depending on what you rolled extra when you do your character wishes. All right. So that's your Paimon's bargains. I check this every day. Usually I could do 1 to 3 wishes a day. Doing them solo or in a stack of 10 doesn't matter. Doesn't change anything. Your party setup is where you can have preset stacks. So I have like a travel stack and a main stack. So you can just quick deploy a certain group for certain things. But this is also if you want to switch out an individual character, you can do it from here. Most importantly, though, that people miss is up top here, elemental resonance. What happens here is based off of the types of characters in your 4-man party and what elements they are, you will get a certain bonus. So because I have 2 lightning, 2 electric characters in this party, I get this passive high voltage, and this is what I get for it. Normally in the beginning, you're going to be running 4 characters of all different elements. That will give you this, protective canopy, 15% resistance to all elements. So keep an eye on that when you're building what you want to build your team as. Friends list, don't worry about it, not a big deal. Just use that for social. When you get to AR16, you unlock co-op. Co-op you really only use to do events with together, because then you can actually get your rewards. Outside of that, it's maybe helping them kill bosses for loot and helping them with domains, dungeons, basically, in a sense, if they need help. Achievements, this is going to have a red exclamation point next to it. Every time you get an achievement, you basically select that achievement. It'll give you Primo Gems as a reward. Character, same thing. You just hit C, go to your individual character to do upgrades to them. Inventory, hit B. Don't worry about doing it here. The only other thing I usually use here is like the shop. Because if you hold tab, you get a nice menu here too. So you can access things without having to hit the individual buttons. So that's going to go over your escape menu. When you get into this game, there's a couple things you really need to focus on, alright?
Onwards. We have
The
work
main
to do.
thing is realizing maybe you want to watch some videos on tier lists. But the thing is those are going to be skewed because people are going to be putting the 5-star and the 4-stars that the people who are paying a lot of money and getting, they're going to be putting a lot of time into that because they're going to have those characters. They're going to put them high in the tier list. And they're going to tell you people like Amber are absolutely terrible, and that Noelle is absolutely terrible. But then you'll see somebody else who builds a full defense, attack, HP, Noelle, DPS, and makes it work. And that's the whole point of free-to-play is sometimes you roll really well, sometimes you don't, and you just gotta play with what you've got, okay? So I did roll 5-star Jean. I know there is a certain streamer out there that has spent thousands of dollars and still has not gotten Jean as a 5-star character. Sucks to suck. Be a free-to-play player. Fischl, another 4-star character that I got off a roll. Made her one of my main DPSs. She's amazing. Xiangling, I got lucky with her too. And then I use Beidou, even though she's a little controversial. The main thing you need to focus on is leveling up an individual character to start with, that is not the main protagonist. Do not overly invest in the main protagonist. The only thing I do with the main protagonist is I give them the stuff as I get it, but I do not invest extra into them because they are terrible in every way, shape, and form for now. They could get better, but the main character is really just a puzzle solver. Same with Amber. She's basically a puzzle solver. Kaya, he's just a good guy for traveling. So what you want to do is you want to roll when you can. Actually, before we even get into that, let's go to the wish system. Okay. Right now, we're waiting for the new banners to come up, so it's just going to show this one. Typically, you have, as a new player, you'll have 4 of these up top. You'll have this Wanderlust Invocation, which is your standard character rolling banner. This is what a banner is, this big box here. And it looks fancy. You know, there's Jean, there's Diluc that everybody wants. There's all these weapons. Don't get concerned and confused by all of this. It's very simple. When you start off, you're going to get a banner that says, like, Noelle's Beginners something. And it's going to tell you that the 10 stack is on sale for 8. And it's going to be those regular Acquainted Fates. max out all 2 8 stacks or all 20 wishes on Noel's banner to get what you can out of it. You're going to get Noel guaranteed, and you're going to get hopefully other characters and some good weapons to get you started. Max that out as the beginner because you're going to get plenty of fates to do it on your first day. Moving on from there, you're going to see that there'll be like a little word that says up or like rate up on a banner that's special for the next event that's coming. With there'll be a singular character previewed on the front of the banner with a couple, like how you see these characters in the bottom corner. It'll be something like that, but it'll show one main character at the front. That's gonna be your rate up, which means that you have a higher chance of getting better stuff out of it. It's still gonna be very RNG, but you have a better chance, and that's why you get those intertwined fates because you want to be spending after you do Noel. You want to be spending your intertwined fates as a free to play player. You want to be converting them all into intertwines to roll on that. Now you might have some backup, star glitter, whatever. You might have some extra stuff to exchange so that you can get your monthly max amount of acquainted fates from that shop menu. That's okay. I did that, and that's how I got Jean. I got really lucky, but once you get past that, outside of what you can get per month from exchanging things for acquainted fate, go straight for intertwined fates and just spam that rate up banner to get as much of that good stuff as you can. And it will show in the details. It will show you. It will give you all the details because it's gambling, but because of the country that this originates from, they have to actually explain everything to you. So they show you all the percent probabilities, and there's also a pity system. So after 90 or 100 rolls, whatever, you're guaranteed a 5-star of a character or a weapon as like a pity system. So, and that rolls over. If I was at 70 rolls from the last intertwined fate, that last rate up banner with Venti on it, those 70 is gonna roll over to the next banner, but only for the event one. So that's why I'm waiting to keep rolling. I'm waiting for the new event banner to come up, and there'll usually be a weapon banner as well. Once again, not worth it. Go for the rate up one. Make the you don't have a lot of resources to use, so don't spend money on this game except for buying the battle pass when you unlock it at like AR 20 or 18 or something. I bought the $9.99 battle pass, and that's the only dime I've spent on this game. Outside of that, just keep spending your intertwined fights and trying to get good rolls out of the better probabilities. Moving on from there, as you get weapons, artifacts, which is basically like your gear, your tributes. So this is where you build your character. Okay, so your attributes. This is where you level them up down below here. When they hit level 20, 40, 50, 60, these are all spots where they stop. They hit max level until you get to a certain AR level, and then at that point you have to have the right amount of resources to ascend them. Once you ascend them, they get a star from up here, and you can level them up again until they hit the next max level. You keep doing that, and that's usually what you do with your main DPS and maybe your backups. So like my four stack, I've got 2 at level 60, 2 at level 50. These guys are ready to ascend when I've got the money for it, and these guys have already maxed out. I just spent all my money doing this. Weapons. Weapons have 2 things. One, they're going to have base stat. They're going to have a secondary stat. It's going to tell you the rarity of it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. This right here is refining them. So this is refinement rank 1, hence by the 1 star. And then it has its passive effect. So with this, if I go to switch weapon, you'll see I've got some other swords. They all have... You'll notice, though, that this sword is level 40 because I have enhanced it. I have ascended the weapon. When I hit max level 20, I ascended it so its next max level is 40, just like characters. This works the same way. The difference, though, is when you want to enhance your weapon, you have 2 things. One, you can ascend it, which I can ascend it right now so its new max level is 50. I have the resources, I just don't have the money. And that will make it 2 stars above that level instead of 1. So you can see how far it'll go. So 50, and then 60, 70, 80, level 90. Refining, what this does is you are taking a duplicate of the weapon, I don't have any duplicates of it. You take the duplicate and you put it on the weapon and you refine it. You basically refine it into your other weapon. You combine them. And what you're going to do is you're going to get an increase to its passive effect. So now instead of getting a 4% attack and defense that stacks 4 times, I get a 5%. So, and some of these weapons get massive boosts. Especially some of the 3-star weapons get massive boosts when you refine them like that. And with 3-star weapons, some 3-stars have amazing abilities. And because they're 3-stars, they're really easy to get on drops. And so you can refine them to max rank really easily. A good example of that, let me pull one up. Perfect example, Sharpshooter's Oath. I've up here, here's the level in the top left. I've refined it to rank 5, as you can see here. So it started at 24% damage against weak spots on mobs. Now I'm at 48%. I've doubled. That's massive damage. So that's a good example of that. Next, we have artifacts. So the main thing too is when you get 4-star weapons, if it's good, put it on your main carry and enhance the shit out of that weapon, and keep making it better to go with the character. With characters, when it comes to DPS characters or your main character, it's all about their gear, their weapon, their artifacts, and the character level all go up at the same time. You want to be increasing all of them and keeping them maxed out at all times, to an extent. The most bang for your buck you're going to get, though, is your artifacts. But we'll get into that last for stat-wise. So you have your Constellation. Every time you get a duplicate of a character, and this is where the pay-to-win people, this is how they get really far ahead of everybody else. It's because they're getting so many duplicates of all these characters, they are getting their max Constellation. Because every time you get a duplicate character, you get the next level in its Constellation, giving it all kinds of added passive perks. As you can see, I've got him on Zhongling because I got lucky. But everybody else, main protagonist, gets his own. You can get those for him without having to do rolls. Kaya, I've got some. Barbara, I got one. Lisa, I got one. But I barely have any. Okay? Talents. This is something that people will forget about. Talents, as you ascend your character past level 40, from level 40 to 50, all these level 1 abilities, the first 3, can be leveled up to level 2, which means their main ability, or their regular attack and their charged attack, their E, like basically their skill, and then their ultimate can all get leveled up to level 2. When you hit level 60, once again, you can level them up again. It costs a lot of resources, it costs a lot of money, but you should be gathering these things a lot over time so that when you start to hit this first roadblock of, oh shit, I need a lot of resources and money to start upgrading my characters, you should be fairly prepared. The last thing is going to be artifacts. This is one of the most important things. Artifacts are going to give you the most, all of your stats pretty much. Outside of your weapon, you're going to get how good your character is, whether they're a tank, they're a healer, or they're a DPS. This is all going to depend on how well you do with your artifacts. So, for example, with Fischl, she's a bow user. I left click with her basically the entire time outside of using her skills. She's like a lightning person, but I usually just shoot the bow. So for her, she has this 2-piece set. You have 5 pieces, so you can either do a 4-piece set, and then there are some rare like purple and above pieces that will have like only a 1 set bonus. But usually I do 2 2-piece sets and then one individual. And you're not really looking necessarily always just for what it gives as a passive bonus. Obviously, I built her so that she has more damage on her normal and charged attack, as well as a % attack boost to whatever I got here. But each artifact has its own stats. So flowers are going to give you HP as a main stat, but if you roll, like let's see if I can find one here. This one, perfect example. She's a lightning user, so she gets elemental mastery here. Not the best, right? But it's good. But it rolled flat attack and % attack, which means that if this is the artifact, if you get everything you want on that character, if it's going to be a DPS, you want a feather with really good base attack with an attack roll on the bottom, maybe a % attack or maybe a flat attack. and you're going to enhance the living shit out of these artifacts. And the reason why is because it's going to develop more passive traits as you level it up, and its max level is based off its rarity. So like this one's going to max out at 15, and it got an HP and an HP percentage proc. Not the greatest, considering it already had a defense, so it's not the best usage of it, but I wanted it because it was also a martial artist piece. But when it comes to your characters, you enhance the shit out of your weapons, you plan around that individual character per se, and you plan your artifacts around it. You pick an artifact that maybe it has some stat bonuses, but also because they have good stat rolls, as you enhance it, those stats are going to become enormously larger, and you're going to see your damage go up tenfold from a level 1 artifact to a level 15 or 10 artifact. You're going to get so much bang for your buck by paying attention to your artifacts and leveling them up. Now, it will get expensive, too. So one thing to always remember is not to just throw all your eggs in one basket, and then you roll for another character, and you're like, oh shit, I just got Jean. I'm going to throw everything into Jean now and try to redo all this stuff I just did, and now I'm broke. I don't have any Mora. I got to go out questing. My characters aren't prepared. Bloody, bloody, blah. Plan ahead. Just pick one single character to start out with. Get him a good weapon. Enhance that weapon. Get him some good artifacts that make him do a lot of damage. Give him maybe some HP on the side. And that character's going to carry you through a lot of the early content. Especially if it's a character you enjoy playing, you're going to really like just constantly using that character. And just swapping to other characters mid-fight just to use their abilities, because you're kind of trying to, maybe you have like some sort of wombo combo set up for bosses or big mobs, whatever. That's the main thing here. Outside of that, guys, at level 12, I think, AR 12, you're going to get your adventure book. It's going to have different chapters where it asks you to do certain things. It's going to give you rewards. It's going to give you AR adventure rank experience, which is good. Items or level up cards. Every day you have 4 commissions to do when you get to that level. Do them. Takes you no time at all. And gives you a lot of different rewards. Plus a bonus. So this is a must. You should be doing these every day. It takes 5 minutes. Domains. The rewards change every day. Domains are like your dungeons. Every day it has different types of rewards, different types of artifact sets. And you're going to want to check which day of the week. If you click on any item, it will tell you where it comes from and what days of the week. So you know that certain days of the week you should be farming certain dungeons to level up a character, or to prepare to level up a character. Trounce domains is where you confront Storm Terror, one of the bosses of the main storyline. Once you've done it, you can go back there and fight him in a totally different way than the original storyline for his rewards. And then the Spiral Abyss is kind of like your solo or it's going to be your solo experience for raids. You basically assemble your two best 4-man teams to take on the Spiral Abyss and try to get through all of the content, so that you can move on to what's after the Spiral Abyss. And it's hard. It is really hard, and it just keeps getting harder, and you need to be prepared. So don't try to you can't slam through it. You just won't. But also in your adventure book, you have once you unlock the second region, you'll have 2 different tabs up top here. It shows how much resin you have. Resin is used to collect treasure from types of bosses and dungeons. So it replenishes every, I don't know what the timer is on it, but once a day you should be cleaning out your resin, and it should never be hitting 120, because then you're not getting any value out of it. You use resin basically to collect treasure from certain bosses. Individual bosses out in the middle of the map will have their drops without you having to spend any resin. Whereas some of the other ones that are like more elites, that have really special rewards, they're going to cost you resin to do. And things like this guy, you can only do him once every so many days, and then you have to wait for him to respawn as well as the treasure to respawn, or else you won't get any value. So like I said, see some of these have it, some of these don't. But you can see what they drop, and if it's something you need, then go farm it. You could easily do a rotation with your friends even every day, like twice a day, running around killing bosses with each other. And then you have your battle pass. You get your daily, your weekly, and then the battle pass period. You have what you're going to get when you get a certain when you hit level 30. And then you have your battle pass. I'm level 18 out of 30. And at level 30, I'm going to get some good stuff. Definitely buy the bottom row of the battle pass for the $9.99.
Can't give up.
It's worth it. Don't spend any other money. The rest of it is just a joke. Just get your free-to-play rolls in and enjoy the game. Remember to check all those little things. Remember to check a lot of them.
It's time to move on.
Those, check
We
your
shouldn't
artifacts,
stay
check
here.
your weapons, check your character levels, check your materials.
What would you like?
There's a lot to do in this game. For example, I could go up to the bar tavern here now that this place is unlocked in the town, and I could buy drinks that give me different stat boosts. You can have three different types of boosts applied at a time. This is healing, this is regen, this is a revive, so that doesn't count. But stamina, attack, different types of attacks, like crit rate, crit damage, defense, elemental resistances or elemental damage. You can stack 3 different types of these things on at a time when you go out to fight bosses. Fragile resin is a consumable that restores 60 of that resin from the top right of your bar of your menu to fight bosses with. Save this. I used a lot of this to get for my weekly like a dum-dum last night, and I shouldn't have. Save this for when you get into like AR 35-40, because then you're going to be spamming resin like crazy because you have less content to do. Unless you, by the time you get there, the next content release is out. But you'll be spamming it then because you're going to be getting a lot more purple and legendary artifacts for your character, which is going to just be amazing for you. So save that stuff. There's no point using it. Quest menu, sometimes check that for some good stuff. These prototypes are used at the Blacksmith in conjunction with materials to make those nice 4-star weapons. So maybe I already have the weapon. I might make another one just to refine it into my original and keep empowering my main DPS's 4-star weapon. And then you have like your ascension material, so like your level up material for weapons, characters, artifacts here, your weapons. One thing I will say is confusing as it's going to be trying to run around and do all these different things at once. There's a thing called a Genshin interactive map. Google it, use it. Log into it with your email and use it, because you can mark things that as found as you find them while you're traveling in the world, and you can just keep it on your secondary monitor or alt tab over to it to keep updating it when you're logged in. So that way you don't double you can cover entire areas knowing that you didn't miss anything.
The neighboring nation of Liyue
Ah, ancient
Here is where you craft alchemy. This is where you can take some of those ascension materials and transfer them from gray to green. And then from green to blue, blue to purple. You get the gist of it. It's where you make your resistance and your damage potions. But one thing to always remember is when you're at character selection, here, when you're going to crafting or cooking or blacksmithing, if this is blinking, that means you have a character that will have a bonus applied if you were to do this action. So if I wanted to make, say, a potion, it starts blinking green. Why? Because it says when Lisa crafts a potion, she has a 20% chance to refund a portion of the crafting materials used. So make sure to always pay attention to that beep, that blinking, and change the character during the crafting so that you get the most bang for your buck. This will also apply to cooking.
It's been getting
Maybe I don't want to buy food, I want to cook it myself. Here, I can refine raw materials to make some products that I can then use to make my dishes. But let's say I wanted to make, I don't know, this satisfying salad. No character bonus from Jean, but if I swap to Shuang Ling, 12% chance to get double the product. Swap to her, cook it. When you exit the menu, you're still going to be on your main on the character you started with. It's just going to swap it for the cooking process. You have these gem sale people here. This is where you get these sigils from different regions specifically that you can then use to buy all these different ascension materials from them. And then once you've bought it all, including the thing for your main protagonist, you'll basically just spend the 2 sigils apiece for Mora. That's what I'll be doing once I get that last piece. Your adventure rank guide is where you turn in your commissions every day. It's where you go to them when you increase your AR level. You go to them and you get your reward for leveling up your AR level. And it's also where you send characters out on expeditions when that unlocks. Expeditions are, it'll tell you what part of say the Mondstadt region or the Liyue region, what part of it, when you click on it, what kind of rewards you get, based off of how long they're out there. Really, I don't do any of them except for the mining, because this right here, crystal chunk and white iron chunk, you need to make your weapon pieces for your 4 stars. So I send characters out on these every single day. So they got an hour left, and the reason why they have an hour left and he didn't is because if I go to select character, look at that, Fischl and Bennett both have 20% reduced time while in Mondstadt. Once again, just like cooking, another perk. And then with the Blacksmith, it's very simple with the Blacksmith. You never really, what do you have to sell? No one cares about that. When you go to forge things, this is where you can forge those 4-star weapons. Always click on them to see what they have for perks, because some of them might be really bad. And some of them might be amazing. So pick and choose which one you want, right? And you can also make these gems. You'll need these later on, but basically all this is for is you use this in conjunction with lower tier weapons when you're enhancing a weapon. All you're doing is you're taking these crystals and spare weapons that you're not going to use to throw into the weapon you're trying to level up to give it XP. Outside of that, these are going to require these prototypes, like I mentioned before. So if I want to level up Jean's sword, I could get some more white iron chunks to go with the other 2 components I already have, and I can make another Rancor and refine my sword. And then it'll go into the forging queue, and then you'll just pick it up when it's ready. And because when my characters came back from expedition, they did mining for the expedition. Because I went and picked them up and pulled them back to their expedition because they finished, it counted as my daily for mining 10 items. So there, 2 of my dailies are already done. And I haven't even left town yet to actually do anything. Alright guys, so outside of that, when it comes to combat, check the G when you get these little pop-ups in the bottom center, which is like your G menu.
We shouldn't stay here.
That's going to try to tell you something about the boss, your elemental reactions when 2 elements meet each other. Pay attention to those. Build your team around what characters you have, but also what kind of elemental reactions you want to have, and what kind of elemental resonant passive you want your team to have. For me, I have double lightning. My team is built around Fischl auto-attacking with her Raven shooting out lightning. Xiangling I just use for her ultimate. Jean is my main DPS and tank and healer, all at one. With crowd control with wind. And then Beidou, I use her for her on-hit ultimate. The fact that she's a Claymore user for mining and AoE damage. And because she's the only person in the game with a counter-attack. So I can absorb things and then hit everybody with it right back in their face. So if you like 7 Deadly Sins, that kind of thing. Full counter, that's pretty much Beidou. Alright guys, outside of that, the only thing I will say is when you find things on the map, like say a really great mining spot, you have 99 pins you can put on the world. Okay? With all these different icons. Put a marker down. If it's not something that needs to go on your interactive map, or as you're updating your interactive map, if you find something that you maybe need to come back to, or someplace that just a nice little pocket you know you can right away go do some mining, put a marker down, come back to it. Okay? Update your map. Keep it updated. Because your interactive map is going to help you finding things as maybe you're going for animoculuses, which is like this thing you pick up to upgrade the statue to 7. When you upgrade the statue to 7, you stand there, you teleport there to get your health back, but also you basically go there to you turn in your animoculuses. It's kind of like you're worshiping the god there of that region, and it will give you max stamina boost. It will give you other rewards. And that's why my stamina bar is so high. If I look, it's over 2 bars now. Compared to yours going to be, starting out, you're going to have 1 bar. So the big proponent of this game is while you're out exploring and questing, you're quest venturing. Okay, you're going out there. Every time you see a chest, something you can mine, something you can pick up. Anytime you see a creature, you are going out and you are stopping what you're doing in the middle of that quest to do all of these things, you will get sidetracked for the entire day, and it doesn't matter because all of these things are going to respawn. Those quests are not going to respawn. Those treasure vaults, those deep vaults, they're not going to respawn. Certain things are not going to
It's
respawn.
time to move on.
So it's really
We
important
shouldn't
as
stay
you're
here.
leveling that you're hitting everything that you see as you go, because there's going to come a point where some things might take a week to respawn, and by then you might have jumped 10 AR levels. You might have grinded to AR 30 or 40. You might have done some serious time into this game. You want to make sure that you're giving everything in the map time to respawn so that it's more things you can go back to for content and XP and treasure. Okay, guys? That is going to be my last little piece of advice for today. If you have any other questions, leave a comment, come into my Twitch stream, ask me questions. I stream pretty much every day of the week. I do have what's called Territory Wars for Conqueror's Blade on Tuesdays and Saturday nights for about 2 hours, 3 hours. Outside of that, I'm usually on. So come by and ask any questions you want. And if you guys want me to make more videos on anything specific, I will be happy to do so. All right? Take care, guys.